So what I'll start with first is the user experience. And one of the first things I really want to highlight is it's incredibly easy and intuitive to use Box. And so what we've done is we've taken your PC experience and we've translated that to the cloud. So what we're used to on the PC is folders and files, right? It's very, very straightforward. You've got folders and files here. So what happens is when you click on a folder, you can see additional folders and files within that. So you could easily create another folder if you wanted to, just by clicking New, and then New Folder here as an example. What you'll also notice is you can create documents directly from the cloud. So for example, if I wanted to create a new Word document, I can say, call this demo. We'll go ahead and create it. Notice you can lock the file so no one else can edit it at the same time as you. Even if that happens, you just simply have two different versions saved. I'll go ahead and save it, making this change. Notice that it saves directly back to Box. So now what's interesting is you're creating documents directly from cloud and also saving directly back to cloud. And you can see the change I made here. It's going to generate a rendered preview in the cloud. And you'll also notice that you can see different documents on the right-hand side here in your folder. So again, this is a demo test, so it's very straightforward. But as you can see, it's not just Word documents. You can also view PowerPoints and many other documents. We support over 100 different file types in preview. One of the first things you'll notice is that you save a tremendous amount of time. So, whether it's a 5 meg file or a 70 meg file, right? We render it in cloud, and you have the ability to preview it. So notice this is a 5 meg file. I didn't have to download anything. It's all rendered in cloud beautifully, just like it was in my PowerPoint. So one, that saves you a tremendous amount of time. The second is it's much more highly available. So the chances of your hard drive on your desktop failing is much more likely than, multiple data centers that are, highly active with regards to failover, right, which is our architecture. We're going to be much more reliant and reliable, right? So highly available, that's the first piece. The second is, by working within cloud, you now are able to share it and collaborate on it with other people incredibly easily. And that's one big piece about what Box is. It's about how do you change the way you work around content and not just simply sync and store it in the cloud. I'll give you an example. I can actually enter a comment here, just like a tweet, and say, at Nelson Wang, fix page 2. And what you'll notice is you can also assign this as a task and have a due date and say, hey, it's due at the end of the month. Now what happens when you add this is I'll actually get an email that will state, hey, please fix page 2 from Nelson, and then I can click on the link. It'll take me back to this file in the cloud, and I can make the edit from there. It'll also assign a task here where it says, please fix page 2, right? And now it's you got a due date assigned with that as well, due April 30th. Now let's take it a step further. That's some light workflow around task management, around content, and as well as commenting, but you can even share the link with other people external. And so you can see here, you can just copy and paste this link, and we'll pull up another browser here. And you'll notice when I enter in that link, notice I did not have to get a huge file attachment in my email. I just accessed it in the cloud. I can preview it. I mean, if I'm the end user, this is a great experience, right? You're sharing with me internal or externally. And then you can also download the file as well. Okay. So I'll take a quick moment here. Were there any questions so far? I saw a pop-up in the chat that said there was another question.
Just for everybody's edification here, if you can use the Q&A area for questions, because I can't see the chat area. So sorry,
perfect.
You have to restate the question, but at this point I don't have any questions.
Okay, so let's see. I see 2 questions here. I'll just address them. Or let's see if they're a bit of a deep dive. We might wait until after the presentation. So let me take a look at these. Okay, great. These are good questions. Okay, so let me address both of these. One of them I'll show you during the demo. That'll address the video question. The question is, can you stream videos? And then the other question is from PM with regards to how do I know that you're not accessing my files? Great questions. Okay, so the video one I'll show you through the demo. And then PM for your question with regards to Box accessing your files. As you know, you saw quite an extensive list of customers that we offer, or excuse me, that we work with today. And as you can imagine, they would never want us ever touching their content whatsoever. So that's explicitly spelled out. We will show you the Box service agreement if you wanted to see that. Obviously, we're very sensitive to that. And everything we do here at Box is also tracked. Everybody, right? So that's the other key piece to this is there's an audit log on every single person here as well. And certainly that data is sensitive and it's yours, and it will be kept as private as yours within your Box account. So that's something that is commonly asked, but more than happy to go through that with you on the Box service agreement. Great question, though.
So a little different spin on that same question. So what if I have a link like you just highlighted there, and I shared it with a customer, and then they, or a colleague, and then they passed it to 10 other people, unbeknownst to me? How could I track who's accessing that document?
Yeah, really good question. So there's a couple of different security measures you can take. So this link is the one that I copy and pasted. The first is notifications. You can actually get an email notification when someone previews or downloads it. And you can see if they're logged in Box, you have their name because of their account. And if they're not in Box, you have an IP address with the access date and time. Now, to further dive into your question, it also comes down to how much control do you want around this content. So this is where you can now say, hey, do I really want this to be an open link where anyone can click on and view it? So if you choose that, you can say I can change the custom URL. I can set a password. So perhaps only people with a password can view it. Now, certainly that person could pass on the password. That's another thing to take into consideration. So I'll go through how you can do this. But you can also say you can unshare it on a certain date. You can delete it on a certain date. You can also restrict it to only people in the company with their, your company domain name to access it. So that way, someone can't just, go ahead and forward that link to someone outside of the company. You can say only people who are collaborating in the folder, and then you can really set parameters around what they can do within that folder. I'll show you that during the collaborative piece. And then you can say no sharing whatsoever on this link. So let me actually go into that piece because I know that's going to be a big question here, which is how do you restrict permission levels? So if I invite you as a collaborator into a folder, all I have to do is send an email, Nelson@Box. And this is where I can get very specific. So I can say, hey, if you want to upload, download, preview, share, edit, delete files, I'm going to make you an editor. But if my content is incredibly sensitive, maybe I don't want you even downloading the file. I'm going to let you preview it, but that's it. You can only preview it. And, if it's something where I don't even want you previewing or downloading or editing, you might just be able to upload. So that might be a good use case, for example, for, bids as an example. And then you've also got preview or uploader, which allows you to preview and upload, and then viewer, which is download, preview, and share. And then also viewer uploader, which is all that I mentioned in uploading as well, but no editing. And then CoOwner does everything that you can except change the level of access for the owner. So this is one big piece of it, right, which is as you invite people into a virtual workspace on that content, what type of permission level should they have based on the sensitivity of those documents? And a big difference between what you'll see out there today and other competitor products is they often will have 2 at most, from what I've seen, and it's usually pretty rudimentary, whereas ours has very specific granular security permissions. So hopefully that helped answer your question. Any other questions out there? What you can also do, taking it a step further, is not just doing commenting, but you can also edit. And this is incredibly, incredibly productive. So, I used to edit my documents locally on my hard drive. I don't do that anymore. I just click on the edit button. What it does is you can lock the file so that no one else can edit at the same time. Even if they do, you just have 2 different copies. And let's say I make a change here. I delete this period. What you'll notice is that it saves directly back to Box. So I didn't designate, like a local hard drive to save it to. It just saved back to the cloud. So this is really, really important because, one, Now you're working out of cloud, which is much more highly available. And two, you can collaborate with other people on this file so much faster than you ever could before. So no more sending emails back and forth with huge file attachments that might not even go through, where you have to track all the different threads and versions of those different files. And why I say that is because we have version history. So if you click on the version history, you can actually see who made the change, when, and you track every single version you've ever done. Now, taking that a step further, even files that you delete to trash, your admin can keep those files. So technically, they're not even necessarily deleted. So you could even archive all your content within the cloud if you have unlimited storage. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, what I'll do next is I'll share with you the admin console. Oh, actually one last thing. I know I have to show you guys the video because you wanted to see how it streams on Box. So let me answer that one last question, then we'll go to the admin console. So here's a great example, right? This file is 38 megs, a video file, and it's streaming on Box, rendered in the cloud. So, I mean, that saves you a tremendous amount of time from downloading this file, where you can view the video here. Now, this is showcasing the mobile experience on your iPad, where you can have a preview of the document beautifully rendered on the right-hand side, and you can collaborate by making comments. And taking it a step further, it's not just a Word doc. It could be a PowerPoint. It could be an Excel, right? And it could even be a Word doc. And you can edit it with third-party apps like QuickOffice or Cloud On. So now you're editing the document on your iPad just like you used to on your PC. You're just as productive, and you save it directly back to Box. So this is incredibly important because we see this being the mobile future, and a lot of people are already doing this today. So the VP of Clear Channel, he works entirely off his iPad as an example. Even if you don't have a network connection, you can offline download and do local caching, where you can basically view that PowerPoint at a customer site as an example, even though you don't have a connection. And we can take it much further here. There's apps that do printing. There's apps that do scanning of documents. There's apps that do electronic signatures like DocuSign, and that will tie back to Box. And so ultimately, it makes that iPad or Android device, so much more productive, because before, most customers I've met with, they were telling me I'm only using it for email and internet. And, there's just so much more you can do around content with Box. Now, what I want to show you next is the admin console. So basically, you've got the ability to see what's going on in terms of number of logins, who's logging in, top users, what kind of space they're using, and you can easily run reports against all this. So, for example, within the last week, I can see every single thing that's happened. And you can see I previewed that movie file. I tracked it. So again, very granular reporting. You can export it as a CSV file as well. You can run this across files, across users, and then run additional security reports. So I'll show you another example here. And bear with me, I chose kind of a long time frame, so it generates a while to generate the report. So let me do this. I'll probably pick a smaller time frame here. One sec. All right. This one might take a while to load. I picked too big of a time span here. But ultimately, you can easily pull these usage logs across files, users, or additional security reports. And then what you can also do is change the branding and the color scheme. So you can see here you can easily change the logo as well as the different colors here, customized to the way you want. And then you can also customize the login page to have the messaging you want, as well as the footer. And then you've also got the ability to change the security settings. So you can say how long someone can stay logged in. Can they do self-sign-up? Do I want them to have a certain number of required characters for the password? How often do they reset the password? How long can they stay logged in? Right. So these parts of security you can all control. And then also around content and sharing, you can say, hey, do I want to enable external links to folders and files, or just subsets of that? And you can also restrict the access options. Do I want it to be open, or do I want to restrict it to just collaborators in a folder or people within the company as well? And you can default the link for that content that's being shared to be open, just your company, or to just collaborators within a folder. So you can pick and choose there and really set the tone as to when they are about to share content, what the security level would be.